Nunc dimittis. The Nunc dimittis, also known as the Song of Simeon or the Canticle of Simeon, is a canticle taken from the second chapter of the Gospel of Luke, verses 29 through 32. Its Latin name comes from its incipit, the opening words of the Vulgate translation of the passage. Since the 4th century it has been used in services of evening worship such as Compline, Vespers, and Evensong. Biblical account. The title is formed from the opening words in the Latin Vulgate, Nunc dimittis servum tuum Domine. Now thou dost dismiss thy servant, O Lord. Although brief, the canticle abounds in Old Testament allusions. For example, because my eyes have seen thy salvation alludes to Isaiah 52:10. According to the narrative in Luke 2:25-32, Simeon was a devout Jew who had been promised by the Holy Spirit that he would not die until he had seen the Messiah. When Mary and Joseph brought the baby Jesus to the temple in Jerusalem for the ceremony of redemption of the firstborn son after the time of Mary's purification, at least 40 days after the birth, and thus distinct from the circumcision, Simeon was there, and he took Jesus into his arms and uttered words rendered variously as follows. Versions. The Nunc dimittis passage in the original Koine Greek. Transliterated. Latin Vulgate. English translation of the Vulgate. English Book of Common Prayer, 1662. English Roman Breviary. The King James Version 1611 contains the same text as the Book of Common Prayer, except for the last line, Luke 2:32, which simply reads, "A light to lighten the Gentiles, and the glory of thy people is real." Church Slavonic in Slavonic. Liturgy and musical settings. The Nunc dimittis is the traditional gospel canticle of night prayer Compline, just as Benedictus and Magnificat are the traditional gospel canticles of morning prayer and evening prayer respectively. Hence, the Nunc dimittis is found in the liturgical night office of many Western denominations, including evening prayer or Evensong in the Anglican Book of Common Prayer of 1662, Compline a late evening service in the Anglican Book of Common Prayer of 1928, and the night prayer service in the Anglican Common Worship, as well as both the Roman Catholic. In Eastern tradition, the canticle is found in Eastern Orthodox Vespers. One of the most well-known settings in England is a plainchant theme of Thomas Tallis. Heinrich Schütz wrote at least 2 settings, one in Musicalis Exequiam 1636, the other in Symphonie Sacri Roman 2 1647. The feast day Mariae Reinigung was observed in the Lutheran Church at J.S. Bach's time. He composed several cantatas for the occasion, including Mit Fried und Freud ich Fahrdahin, BWV 125, a chorale cantata on Martin Luther's paraphrase of the canticle, and Ich habe Genug, BWV 82. In many Lutheran orders of service, the Nunc dimittis may be sung following the reception of the Eucharist. A 1530 rhymed version by Johannes Anglicus, Im Frieden dein, O Herr mein, with a melody by Wolfgang Dachstein, was written in Strasbourg for that purpose. Many composers have set the text to music, usually coupled in the Anglican Church with the Magnificat, as both the Magnificat and the Nunc dimittis are sung or said during the Anglican service of evening prayer according to the Book of Common Prayer, 1662, in which the older offices of Vespers evening prayer and Compline night prayer were delivered in common worship. It is listed among canticles for use at funeral and memorial services. Herbert Howells composed 20 settings of it, including Magnificat and Nunc dimittis, Gloucester 1947, and Magnificat and Nunc dimittis for St. Paul's Cathedral 1951. A setting of the Nunc dimittis by Charles Villiers Stanford was sung at the funeral of Margaret Thatcher as the recessional. Stanford wrote many settings of both the Magnificat and Nunc dimittis. Sergei Rachmaninoff wrote a setting of the Slavonic Nunc dimittis text, 9 Opushkishi 9 Opushcheshi, as the 5th movement of his all-night vigil. It is known for its final measures, in which the basses sing a descending scale ending on the B, below the bass clef. Literary settings. Thomas Jefferson, Letter to Marquis de Lafayette, 17 May 1816, Joseph Cable, 31 January 1821, and General Andrew Jackson, 18 December 1823. T.H. White novel The Once and Future King, recitation by Merlin. T.S. Eliot poem A Song for Simeon, 1928. Joseph Brodsky poem Nunc dimittis, 1972. Ezra Pound poem Cantico del Sol, 1918. Carol Capek play R.U.R. Roald Dahl short story Nunc dimittis, 1953-1979. Kenneth Lee story Nunc dimittis, 1984-1986. Walter Miller, A Canticle for Leibowitz. John le Carré novel A Murder of Quality. John le Carré novel Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, closing theme of TV adaptation. John le Carré novel The Constant Gardener, sung at the funeral of Tessa Keel. H. W. Brand's novel The Strange Death of American Liberalism. David Mitchell novel Cloud Atlas, Pacific Journal of Adam Ewing, Part 1, Part 1, Part 1. Edith Pargeter novel, writing as Elise Peters in the 6th and 15th volumes of the Cadfael Chronicles, The Virgin in the Ice, and The Confession of Brother Halewin,